What would change in your business if you could simplify your menu, cut labor stress, and still scale without losing your culture? Well, my guest today didn't just believe in a restaurant brand. She bet on it, bought in, and helped grow it to 17 locations and counting. Now, in this episode, I sit down with Kelly from Hothead Burritos to unpack the real drivers of sustainable restaurant growth. From menu discipline and off premise strategy to smart tech, strong leadership, and building teams that actually care. Whether you're running one store or building the next big thing, this episode will change how you think about growth, profitability, and leadership. Let's get into it. Stop losing money on labor and wasted ingredients in the kitchen. When hungry guests walk through your doors, they expect food that tastes homemade every single time. But making everything from scratch, it's eating your profits alive. That's where Ajinomoto Foods comes in. They've got a massive lineup of fast, easy to prep Asian products that look homemade and taste incredible. Perfect for your Lunar New Year menu. Classics like fried rice, gyoza, and shumai, and trendy fusion hits like kimchi chicken pot stickers. With over 100 years of Asian culinary expertise, Ajinomoto helps you save time, cut labor, and protect profits without ever compromising quality. Check them out at ajinomotofoodservice.com. Hey, Rockstars! If you're running a multi-location restaurant or a franchise, you already know the problem. You've got data everywhere, tools everywhere, and still way too many decisions landing on your plate. I like to keep on top of new technology. That's why I've been paying attention to Atlas Nova. Atlas Nova is like having an AI CMO and an AI COO built into one platform. It connects your POS and marketing data, tells you exactly what matters, and then actually helps execute campaigns, insights, next best actions, all without adding headcount. Less guessing, less busy work, better results. If you want your business to run smarter, not harder, check out Atlas Nova at www.atlasnova.ai/rockstars and get 20% off using the code ROCKSTARS20. That's Rockstars with a capital R 20. Hi, Kelly. Welcome to the show. So glad you're with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Roger.
You've got a super successful concept and an interesting story. So we're talking about Hothead Burritos. Now, you were such a fan of the brand, you actually invested, bought in, and now you're operating 10 stores. Am I right?
That's correct. Actually, I have ownership in 17 of our stores, including
Even
our
better.
corporate stores. So yes, definitely a big fan of the brand and just super happy to be part of our growth.
So what was it about the brand that really stood out to you, and what made you really love it, and you knew that other people were really into it too, and that you saw this huge opportunity to ultimately own so many stores? What is it? What makes it special?
The thing that I really love about Hothead, and I think what our customers love about Hothead, is the fact that you can get good, healthy food and you can get it fast. And I think that's super important to people, and just the variety of flavors with our sauces. That's really our big differentiating factor. We have 14 different sauces, so you can eat in our restaurant 14 days in a row and never have the same thing.
Wow, super variety for customers. Aside from the sauces, let's talk about your menu, because it's so important today to have a streamlined menu where everything contributes like a similar profit and that it's working for itself. And I see a lot of restaurants that have these expanded menus and they don't necessarily cross-utilize their ingredients. And that's obviously an inefficient, it leads to high food cost and inefficiencies. So is your menu streamlined? You just have lots of sauce choices, or it's the fillings? Tell us about your offerings.
Yeah, we are very conscientious in keeping our offerings streamlined, but still offering variety. So, we, again, the sauces being the biggest differentiating factor, but we also have multiple types of salsa, cheese, rice. We brought in Mexican rice in 2025, and it became such a hit that it really is outpacing brown rice sales. So we're always paying attention to the consumer and their taste, but also really trying to watch the number of SKUs that we're having in the store, which makes the operations easier for our franchisees, which is always super key to what we're doing. We want all of our product to move, and if a product isn't moving, then it could be on that hit list to be out.
So it's all about throughput for sure. And it sounds like you're addressing that.
Yeah, we've been looking at a few of our offerings right now, and really diving into, do they move? And with a brand like ours, where people are customizing their burritos and bowls and it's not of everything as they come through, that with the amount of online ordering and third party we're having now, we can really dive into what is really moving in the restaurant and making sure we don't take out super popular items.
I see. So are you fast casual? You have tables, but not table service?
That's correct. We're about between third party and carry out. We're really close to 90% off premises now. And that, of course, is the big shift post COVID, is so many people are just used to not sitting down and eating in a restaurant.
No, that's absolutely true. And it also keeps your labor costs in line, or at least lower than it would be if you had a full serve operation.
Exactly.
So walk me through. I walk through the front door, and obviously people walk up and there's menu boards and they decide what they want, and then everything is produced right in front of them, and they go down the line and then they cash out and then they sit. Is that how it works, or am I missing
Nope,
something?
nope, that's exactly it. And right now, we're in the process of converting all the restaurants in the chain to digital menu boards. So that will allow us to really advertise to our customers while they're in the store to help walk them through the menu more, because sometimes people don't realize all the offerings we have. You come in and you get your normal chicken bowl and you don't look at the other options. And for example, we have a custom queso con carne, and some of the employees in the corporate office didn't even know we had it. So obviously there's lots of opportunities for us to teach the customers about our menu.
So that's a piece of necessary technology. And if I'm hearing you correctly, I was in an airport recently. Obviously, busy airports, they got to move people in, move them out really quickly. And it was probably a McDonald's or something on the fly. And they had all these kiosks where I literally entered everything. But even more importantly, it gives you the opportunity to present choices to the guest where they choose every step of the way. You can probably upsell them on certain things they wouldn't be aware of. So you're bringing this technology into your stores?
Yes, absolutely. We want to. I know a lot of the larger brands are forcing their customers to kiosks. We're definitely not there yet. We know our customers like interaction. If they don't want the interaction, they'll order online and just come in and pick it up, which we don't mind that either. But we want to give the customers what they want. But I think the digital menu boards is really going to help us, like you said, walk the customer through the menu a little bit more and do some suggestive selling that sometimes our employees don't necessarily do like we like them to.
I really love the fact that you don't want to replace the human interaction with technology, because I see that a lot. I think it's a mistake. I think technology can and should only enhance the service experience, not detract from it. So that personal touch is so important to create raving fans for your brand.
Exactly. And I think 20 years from now, excuse me, this would be a different conversation. But
Okay.
I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
frustration when I've gone into other restaurants and people are being forced to use those kiosks, and some people really do not like them. And again, we're looking at putting a few of those in some of our restaurants, but not forcing the customers to use them.
I see. And there's so much technology out there today, and it can be overwhelming for an operator to choose because it seems like something new comes out all the time. Is there anything else that you're using now that's necessary to your operation and that you would recommend?
Oh
It's
gosh, lots of things, of course. We recently signed up with Momos, so that's allowing us to grab all that data, look at it all at one time, and really helping us focus on where we might be missing the boat a little bit and what the customers are looking for. And really focus on down to a store level. Is one store doing it better than another store? And really, we like to have our franchisees share information with each other. So when one's doing it really
best
well,
practices.
in our monthly
Yes.
conference calls, we ask them to share.
Okay, great. Can you give me a little bit more detail? What exactly, for those that aren't aware, does Momos do? You mentioned data gathering and it helps you make informed decisions, but does it capture repetitive guest information that obviously lets you run a more streamlined operation and you're aware of what these diners are looking for? Tell me more about that.
It does. And honestly, I'm not the tech guru of our brand for sure. So I know enough to be dangerous on a lot of stuff. But
Fair
Momos
enough.
is one of the I'll say customer reporting terms that we're using. But we're recently onboarding with a company named called Bicky. And that's going to allow us to really drill down to
Mhm.
customer visits and how often they're coming back, which of our promotions are working and things like that. And that's super important so we know how to spend our dollars correctly and do our campaigns really work, because we may put out something great that we love and it's a great product as an LTO, but are the customers actually buying that? And the little bit of information that we get from the online ordering, yes, that gives us some, our online ordering is not anywhere close to 50% of our ordering. So this is really going to give us another leg up to understand what our customers like and what they're doing.
That helps a lot. In terms of online ordering, you using third-party delivery or how's that working in your stores?
Absolutely. We thank goodness we're using third party delivery before COVID. We started third party delivering around 2015. So not the earliest, but we're definitely on board. And with our POS system, which is Q, they are fully integrated and it is, we couldn't be happier with them. We had been with several other POS companies before, and Q has just really been super easy to work with. And that integration is very important. And that drives our app for online ordering.
That's a missed opportunity in lots of restaurants where the data is available. They're not capturing it, they're not using it, but it sounds like you're using it to best advantage. And that definitely is a competitive advantage in the industry when it's so crazy out there right now. And you need every advantage you can get. So thanks for sharing that. And I have heard of Bicky as well. I've heard good things. What about now? I just returned from Denver. I was giving a presentation on artificial intelligence or AI for restaurants. Are you getting into AI at all in your stores?
We've been investigating that and looking at a few different things, but we really haven't pulled the trigger on anything that I would consider fully AI related at this point in time. But I know there's going to be a lot of opportunities coming in. I know I'm personally a chat GBT person, so I love to use them for what I'm
Me too.
doing.
Sure.
In the restaurant, no, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, there's again an overwhelming amount of software platforms that do just everything you could think of right now. So, yeah, it definitely takes vetting and doing some homework there, but it is the wave of the future. So, I just thought I'd ask. You mentioned LTOs. How often do you roll those out and what are some big items?
So we generally do our LTO rotation basically 6 times a year. The majority of our focus now, as I think a lot of restaurants, again, post COVID, is really highlighting what's already in our store. So not necessarily bringing in new items, but highlighting what's there or maybe making a new flavor combination. Now, our upcoming LTO is going to be a fish taco. So that is something that we are bringing
I love
in,
those.
and they're really good. And
Yeah.
during this time of year for Lent, fish or a non-meat product is always important besides just a veggie product. And the fish tacos are just, they're wonderful. So I'm super happy for them to be back in our stores so I can be eating them again all the time.
Oh, I would too,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And but then you
Second
asked
one.
about what some of our really successful ones were. And
Yes.
we've had a couple instances, like we had a flaming hot Cheeto burrito that we did a number of years ago, and it was so popular it was permanently put on the menu, as was our chicken bacon ranch bowl. And we just had a lot of customers really like that. And when we see that kind of response, we will put that on as a permanent item, or at least offer it, even if it's not a on the menu item kind of thing.
When I had restaurants, I had really crazy names for all of our menu items that sort of attracted attention to the item and kind of sold themselves. We had the nachos avalanche, and for desserts, the raspberry cream disaster. And people say, "Oh, what's that? That sounds great. Bring me that." You have a Cheeto burrito. Do you have other interesting names? And do you do that in all the stores?
Yeah, we do. So for example, let me think of a good example for you. So some of them not just like super exciting and super interesting, but we have some Leroy deals that are online orders. So what do we call it? Our big beefy burrito, which is like a
Mhm.
double beef, double cheese burrito, and it's only
I
available
love
for
burritos.
online orders.
Okay.
Why? To be honest, I'm not really sure why we don't offer it all the time, because it's a great product, but it's a way to get our customers to look at our online specials. Everyone right now, we're a $9.99 value meal because everyone's value right now.
That's what we see, of course.
And we really just wanted to do something that, one, it's going to help the customer, but two, it's not going to kill our franchisees with something with really high food costs.
No doubt. And also ease of preparation, simple to make, speed of preparation, and value for the guests. That's so important.
Yes.
I'm really glad you brought up the value point because we've seen with inflation and rising costs, and unless you have multiple locations and you've got some leverage, if you're a single independent operator and costs keep going up, all they can do is they keep raising their prices. And then there's also the labor problem that a lot of restaurants are struggling with. So suddenly you're delivering less service than guests expect. You got higher prices, and somehow the value is lost and the tipping point has been reached.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're finding that balance, but with that said, have you experienced any issues with labor at all? Have you solved those challenges?
Always. And we, as a franchisor, we're really focused on helping our franchisees with food and labor costs. One of the things that we've currently been experimenting with is having our fajita veggies come in already pre-trimmed so that they're still a fresh product, fresh not frozen, but our franchisees, the employees don't have to prep them every day. And the employees who've had the trials done in their stores, the fact that they're not fresh cutting red onions and the women crying to where all their makeup's running off every day, they're very happy about
Of
that. Like
course.
nobody's crying because they're not cutting
Yeah.
onions. Let me tell you, they're super excited. But we try to whatever we can do to help cut labor. One of the things that came about several years ago was instead of having a big steak fillet come in, we started having our manufacturer just pre-trim it for us. Like, why not? That saves labor, saves potential workers' claims cost, those kind of things. We're just always looking at how can we make it more efficient, help the franchisees save food and labor costs in everything that we do.
Is there an ideal employee type? Is it a really face the kids want to work? Do you get high school kids? Do you get college kids? You're looking for somewhat older people than that? What would you say? Is there a target? Do you have better luck with certain types of employees or certain ages?
I think that's a little bit geographically, you'll see different things where it makes a little difference. In some of our store areas, having those younger high school kids is really good, and sometimes it's not good. It just depends on kind of that family
Mhm.
environment. And honestly, I think when both parents are working professionals, those teenagers, they tend to be really hard workers more than others, just on a general basis. But I will say, corporately, we try to steer away from teenagers just because of minor labor laws. 75 who work in our stores, and we have a lot of retirees who like to just come in and run a few hours, do prep in the morning, or maybe close the restaurant down at night. It just works for their time frame. We have a lot of college kids who come back in the summer and work in our stores because we try to make it as easy as possible. And yes, we try to make it fun. I always try to make sure that at Halloween I send full size candy bars to all of our corporate stores so that way everyone and
Oh,
big
yeah.
kid.
So now I think we're talking a little bit about culture, which I think is so important to longevity and low turnover. If people really feel like, they belong and that they have a voice and their opinion matters and that everybody's pulling in the same direction, can you describe your company culture across all your stores? Because you want consistency there, and every store is a little different. Ownership is different, management is different. But again, you mentioned best practices and we share things. How would you describe the culture of Hothead Burrito?
So I think that as a general statement, I think we have a great culture. We want our employees to know that they're valued. We like them to understand the why we're doing things, the why we're changing things. Because if you just walk in and you change something, people are like, I've been used to doing this. Why are we changing? And we kind of use a feel, felt, now. I know how you feel. I felt that way too. But we found if you do it this way, it's faster and it's gonna be less work for you. And if you're conveying those things to them, they appreciate that. And we like to have contests in our stores so the stores can compete against each other and win
Excellent.
prizes. And we bring all of our management teams together once a month so they can learn and have fun. And we can play some games that are really more learning games than they're just fun games. And then we tell them later when they're finished with it, what the learning opportunity was there. And I think it really helps.
Do you do any mentoring and shadowing where really great employees take someone under their wing, a leadership thing? Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
In the truest form of what I would consider mentorship, we could probably do better and not to that full level, but we definitely have. When a new employee comes in, we're not just here you go, you're on the line or you're stuck in the dish tank or whatever it is. We want to have them engaged. We want them to, again, understand what we're doing and why, understand checklists and procedures and kind of walk them through it, let them shadow a person for a while so they really understand the operations. We're not just, again, not just turning them loose because that makes people feel like they don't care about me and I don't even know what I'm
Absolutely.
doing. So am
Mhm.
I even valuable
Uh-huh.
here?
Yeah, that would be setting someone up for failure and leading to high turnover. Let's talk about marketing because marketing is so important today in our restaurants. And obviously, you've developed strategies in your own stores. Can you share any of those ideas that really work for you? Smithfield Culinary is committed to offering your restaurant the perfect protein for every dish at every day part. They know that to meat lovers, a great serving of their favorite cut is more than just food, it's an experience. Take Smithfield's new ready to eat select bacon, where chefs won't leave a mess and your guests won't leave a trace, or their new ground chorizo that lets you serve up tasty smoky heat. Turn to Smithfield for the broadest portfolio of pork, such as bacon, ham, sausage, and more. When you partner with Smithfield, you serve what you love, and your guests will love what you serve. I taste Smithfield products at many restaurant shows, and they're always delicious. To order or more information, go to smithfieldculinary.com/Smithfield.
Yeah, we are always looking for new marketing ideas and strategies. And we have a great team in-house that both creative on like the art side of it and the video side of it. And for us, we just feel the most important thing right now is to reach the customer where they're at. And whether that's in the over-the-top TV, non-cable type things, or the billboards, the print, the in-store opportunities, the marketing via our rewards program to give discounts or coming in on certain days. One of the things we started a few years ago, obviously Mexican restaurant, Cinco de Mayo, everybody and their brother does something on it. This will be our 5th year that we are doing what we call Cinco de Monto. So it's not just a one day,
I
just
love it.
give back. So we're doing
Uh-huh.
contests and giving away a trip to the Caribbean is what we've done, plus free burritos, free drinks, free queso,
That's
walk,
huge.
and
Yeah.
our customers love it.
So that's a festival that lasts a whole month, and it's got a catchy name, Cinco de
Yeah.
Monto.
Yeah. Might not be
Oh,
proper. People love it. It's easy to say and easy to promote.
Are you able to, or do you even want to offer any limited alcohol choices in the stores, or does that not work?
Yeah, we actually have a number of stores who do have liquor licenses, and we first
Oh,
started
good.
that in 2015, and
Uh-huh.
so more than 10 years now. So what we really learned is that margaritas. So any of our
Thank you.
franchisees who are looking to do that, pending their local liquor laws, we recommend just getting a 3 or 4 flavor margarita bubbler. Doesn't really take any space up. They have it pre-mixed, and then they just pour for the customer. And we have found that in the stores we rolled those out, and it really helped with what I would consider the veto vote. So when it's dinner time,
Yeah,
myself, I like to have an adult beverage. And if you don't have it, I'm
I do
probably
as
going to go
well.
somewhere else. So by having that, and again, we're not a bar, so people get 1, maybe 2
Sure.
at the very most. But again, we're not having
Mhm.
table service. You have to get back up and get it. And yeah, so we have found that works. But like beer and wine, over this 10 years, we realized it did not work.
The margaritas for sure. Like, I love Mexican food, but like you said, it's like they go together. And whenever I'm in the mood for a burrito, I want a margarita to go with it. So
Yes.
I'm really glad that you're offering that. That's terrific. Any other hooks, those unique things that your store does that sets you apart, that brings people back? They say, wow, that's really cool. I don't see that anywhere else.
Most brands have some kind of a rewards program. So of course we have that also. Certain days we're given, I think Mondays we're given double points for that. Or, I'm sorry, Tuesdays we get double points because Monday we've been running a promotion ever since I've been involved with the company is 2 burritos or bowls for, I think we're at $16.99 in most of our stores after 5 on Monday and actually all day on
That's the deal.
Sunday. And we have a lot of very regular customers who love that promotion. It's their after church on Sunday, hit Hothead and get a meal, or even the single people who will take their 2 burritos or bowls and have one the next day or for lunch or dinner.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for sharing. We talked about hooks. We talked about limited time offers, catchy names, all that. Let's shift gears and talk a little bit about finances and KPIs. What are the most important performance indicators? What do you look at on a daily basis in your stores? And what's most important in maximizing the bottom line?
Yeah, for us, the 2 main things we look at is food and labor. And those are the biggest costs to a restaurant. And
For sure.
we are constantly counseling our franchisees, and we have a really great tech team here and we're now grabbing API feeds from both Q and from our food distributor, which is GFS, and running reports, and to be able to tell the franchisees what your food cost is, what your labor cost is. And of course, we've got your sales data. And even a step farther is those things that can really help a restaurant with their food costs. For example, queso and guac. We offer that in our stores. It's an extra charge. If your employees are selling it, but your cashier is not ringing it out, that's a problem. So we came up with a report
Absolutely.
that says basically how much queso did you order? How much did you ring out? And it factors in a couple of the items that automatically have it. And those things, we've really been able to tighten up our food costs by paying attention to those numbers.
Are your stores taking regular inventory as well?
Honestly, that's something that we've gone back and forth on. Some of our stores take a full inventory every week. Some of them we just look at a couple of those key items. But as we're getting deeper into analyzing food costs from straight ordering from GFS and then based on our sales, it's really helping us on that and helping us see where maybe employees aren't bringing things in or things like that. But as a brand wide, I'm not making you submit your inventory reports to me on a weekly basis because I'm looking at your food buys. I know what's going on.
Yeah, and all those little details all matter. I had this phrase, pennies equal dollars, and everything has to be run through. Everything has to be as efficient as it can be.
Mhm.
So you're definitely looking at that. How about menu costing as prices increase and markets are volatile and that sort of thing? Does that happen from a corporate standpoint and it gets shared across the different stores, or what do
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
about that?
So we, again, food costs being super important. So we always give corporate recommended pricing. I've got a couple
Mhm.
stores that are in Massachusetts and Connecticut. Their labor cost is a whole lot higher than mine, their minimum wage. So obviously
Oh, yeah,
they are above our
exactly.
corporate recommended. We do, that is an individual store level decision on that, but we are always, we recommend that out and we're very diligent too on anytime we're putting out an LTO, we're conveying to our franchisees, this is the food cost for this particular item. So if the employee is
Yeah.
making it correctly and portioning it correctly, that's the food cost. And we're really trying to be conscientious on if we're promoting something, I want to promote something that's on a lower food cost side than a higher food cost side.
And now we're talking about consistency of portions from person to person, store to store. Like all those are those important details that matter. So let me ask how you maintain consistency in your stores and how often that gets discussed in, say, leadership meetings and if there's best practices put in place to ensure that consistency.
Absolutely. We are giving guidance to our franchisees. We have a portion guide
Mhm.
and we recommend that they do as we do in our stores. So when the employee gets their employee meal for working their shift, they should do a weigh-in, which is they portion out a couple items, log it into a chart so that way the employee is doing the proper portion before and not of their meal, just to do a sample so that way they have it as more of a muscle memory. And
Okay.
cheese scales. I mean, we are weighing our cheese because it's one of the highest cost items on the
Absolutely.
line
Yes.
that can easily be overportioned. And honestly, we've had a couple customers complain, "Why are you weighing my cheese now?" Get mad about it,
Because it's
and
all visible to the guest, right? All these
it
processes.
is, and
So you
the
want the consistency, but you don't want the guest to think, oh, you're cheaping me out because you're cutting the cheese back,
And so
right?
what we instruct our franchisees and our
Go
employees to
ahead.
say is, we're doing this so you get the consistent amount no matter what store that you're in. I
Thank
give you
you.
the right amount. I give you enough cheese. And sometimes that they still may not be super happy about that, but that is one of the things that we're doing to try to get that consistency. And of course, the recipes that we share with the franchisees on how to fresh make the guac, fresh make the salsa, those kind of things. We're very consistent on that. And then of course we have corporate inspectors that are coming out and checking their stores on a monthly to quarterly basis, depending on what and where. And then if there's issues, we're back a lot sooner than that.
So is that, I'm hearing that's kind of like a secret shopper program, only it's people from corporate that visit the stores and maintain that consistency?
Correct. That is our corporate staff that is doing that. We have secret shopped previously. It's not a official program that we have going on. I can say that locally in the Dayton, Ohio market, I have a few friends that they're out secret
Mhm.
shopping, and I hear a whole lot when things
And
are
they let
lower
you
gas.
know. Do you travel much across your stores?
I personally don't travel much across the stores. I've got a lot to do corporately, but obviously
Okay.
our staff does. And then when we meet with our franchisees on a monthly basis for an all team conference call. And then we also try to just communicate, like you said, for the consistency things. We do a newsletter, we have the conference call, and then of course email. So again, I'm trying to hit my franchisees the same way I'm doing with my customers. However I can get to them and they'll listen, I'm gonna do it that way because we all have different styles and what's easier for us. Some the call is good enough, and other people I gotta hit them 2 or 3 times for them to remember we've updated a procedure or try to make things easier for them.
When you walk into one of your stores, are they all pretty much alike in terms of the atmosphere, or do you allow any leeway in terms of the community, advertising local sports teams, or anything that's really stand out in that community as part of the decor? Is it all Mexican themed? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we do allow all of our stores are different. So we're not building ground up construction so where everything's the same. One store can
Mhm.
have a bunch of windows, one store can have very few windows. It just depends on the individual location. But yes, the general theme is going to be the same as far as colors and wall coverings, but the franchisees have some options on different things they can have on the walls, like our flavor revolution or mild to wild, different things that are of interest. We haven't purposely focused on every store having that niche to the exact community or the local school, high schools or colleges or anything, but we definitely have some of our stores that have done that. And we definitely give some leeway on that. We want our stores to be involved in the communities. We mandate that all of our stores have to have dine-in fundraisers. We want them to be involved in the community because the community is the people who are supporting them, and we need to support the community.
Absolutely true. My audience is used to hearing me talk about leadership versus man. I think there's a huge difference where the manager is just the boss that barks orders, but a true leader is someone who empowers the team. And you strike me as a true leader. Do you have any advice for our audience on how you run your operation? You've got 17 stores, you've got a big operation, it's growing all the time. We've talked about a lot of things that make Hothead successful, but let's talk about what true leadership means and what your style is that works for you.
I think the most important thing is I can't be everywhere, and neither can my employees or my franchisees. So the sharing of information is super important. I want to share with them why we're looking at things the way we are, why we're asking them to do things. But then I want them to share with me also operationally, something isn't flowing right and they want to do it another way. And honestly, sometimes they are doing it another way. And then we either are going to look at with us having the number of corporate stores we do. The great thing is that we can come in and we can test things in our stores. And I might test something in 4 of my stores and then test something else in the other 4 of my stores. And I see which one works the best. And then I'll roll that out and ask a couple of our franchisees with multiple units, hey, why don't you test this in your store and let's see what your customers feel like. So just that collaborative, we're a team and we're all in this together, I think is the most important. I think that's what's helping us keep continuing to build stores. Our existing franchisees are building more stores. We have more people coming into the brand because they're hearing good things from our franchisees.
That is definitely solid, and that's leadership for sure. If you could go back in time, Kelly, when you first started expanding your stores, because a lot of people, it's always a challenge to go maybe from your first store to your second store, but then it gets easier once that system's in place. What would you recommend if you were speaking to a single independent operator that has something that's working in one store, but suddenly sees national expansion, regional expansion? What's the most important thing to keep in mind when you're going to your next store and your next store before the whole system starts getting cohesive, as it were?
The most important thing is when you're building a brand is you have to have that brand consistency. So if I had to go back and do something different with Hothead, I would say would be to be more conscientious on our footprint and our expansion. And point being is basically everything I have is on the east of the Mississippi, except I have 1 store in Texas. I want to expand in Texas. I want more stores in Texas for sure. But on a
Yes.
distribution, it's more of a challenge because we have a number of proprietary products. We are not just get it off the shelf. We're not full service with chefs that are cooking. So we have to make it
Mhm.
easy for
Yeah.
our employees. So I would be a little more cognizant on growing outward versus jumping over here and jumping over there, at least with our products and the way we do it. And again, wanting the consistency of the brand and having proprietary products. If I prepare it or have our manufacturer prepare it and then we ship it out, I know that my chicken is marinated the way it's supposed to be marinated.
Kelly, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. You've talked all about key nuggets that make your restaurant successful, but it definitely translates into a small restaurant, an independent restaurant, a growing chain of restaurants. These are all best practices, and you gave us a lot of great information to help our operators succeed. So thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Roger. I appreciate it.
Thanks, audience, for tuning in. That was the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. Can't wait to see you in the next episode. Stay well, stay tuned, and I will see you then. And that is a wrap. Last year, I uncovered over $300,000 in lost profit in 2 independent restaurants and $885,000 in a 5-location pizza chain. I specialize in controlling costs to maximize profit, training managers to become leaders, training front of house staff to sell, and marketing that drives trackable, new, and repeat business. If you want more profit, less hours, and a dream team staffing your restaurant, book a free 30-minute profit strategy session with me. Email roger@restaurantrockstars.com. That's ROGER at restaurantrockstars.com.
Thanks for listening to the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. For lots of great resources, head over to restaurantrockstars.com. See you next time.